6:33 here on News Radio WRVA. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rich Herrera. This is the voice of Virginia. You want to comment? 833-804-1140. I know you're going to want to comment on this. So as I was getting ready to leave the office yesterday, news drops that Pam Bondi is out as the Attorney General of the United States of America. I had been wondering whether she was going to make it past the midterms and into the new session of Congress. At the halfway point of most administrations, you'll see some shuffling of the deck chairs as far as cabinet secretaries go. We've already seen Kristi Noem let go. Now you see Pam Bondi fired as the Attorney General of the United States. She'll return to private practice. So what happened? A lot of people are calling it chaos. Now, a lot of people like Pam Bondi because she was fiery. She defended the president. She got in the face of members of Congress. In fact, you remember these exchanges with Pam Bondi on the Hill testifying before Congress. She didn't take an ounce of nonsense from anyone sitting up on Capitol Hill. Take a listen.
I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer
theatrics
the
are
question the way I
ridiculous.
asked it.
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people, but I'm going to answer the question.
How many have you indicted?
Pam Bondi going back and forth with Jerry Nadler and Republicans and the MAGA folks like, yes, that's right, go get them. Now, others will say, well, look at the chaos. You had to get rid of the Department of Homeland Security. You got to get rid of the Attorney General. Donald Trump's out of control. This is just chaos. No, this is what playing in the big leagues looks like. So everybody else is calling it chaos. I'm going to tell you, when I look at it, it looks like we have someone who's believing there's no time to waste sitting in the Oval Office. Let me explain. It's called urgency. And when you have urgency, you have to be ruthless because we're here to win, and you better perform to help us win. And if not, I'll move on to find somebody else. Why? Because we owe it to everyone to give it our very, very best, have the very best people in line, and those very best people must perform. Otherwise, we don't perform at the maximum level, we don't optimize our opportunities, and we're going to lose. Pretty simple. Now, again, I'll take all the hyperbole out of the way. I'll take all the pundits out of the way, and let me use this analogy, okay? I'm going to lean back into sports. There's a guy named Bruce Bochy. He is a four-time World Series champion, but he went to the World Series 5 times. So what happened? The first time he went to the World Series, he took the San Diego Padres, taking the New York Yankees. And he wanted to make sure that everybody had a great experience and a memorable time. And he wanted to make sure people got an opportunity. And he hung with his guys and he just kind of said, come on, guys, we could do it. And if you struggled, he still stuck with you because he got you to the dance. He lost. He goes to his next World Series and he wins. And then he wins another. And then he wins another. And then he leaves that team and he goes to the Texas Rangers and he wins another. So he went to the World Series 5 times, won 4. What's the difference? My old partner on Sirius XM, Kevin Kennedy, asked him, and what Bruce Bochy said was, the first time I got there, I wanted to make sure everybody had their opportunity, and I worried about my guys the way I do during the regular season. He said the second time I got there, I managed with a sense of urgency that I didn't have in the first one. So during the regular season, if I had a guy that struggled, I'd stick with him because I didn't want him to lose his confidence. I did the same thing in the World Series. The second time I got to the World Series, third time I got to the World Series, fourth time I got to the World Series, if that guy struggled and wasn't doing his job, I pulled him out. I couldn't care about his feelings. I couldn't care about his ego because I owed it to everybody else in that team to put the best people in the best position to win right there. And if I hurt his feelings, he can get over it because having hurt feelings or being embarrassed during the World Series, that sting doesn't last as long as losing the whole darn thing. He learned how to manage with a sense of urgency when the time was right and the crisis was there. And that's why I say big-time players make big-time plays. Pam Bondi's a big-time player. But was she making big-time plays? No. And that's what I want everybody to understand this morning. Everyone's obsessing over who got pushed out, but they're missing that one signal from day one. The pace, the urgency, the lack of ceremony that this White House has is a little unsettling for the people inside the Beltway and hard to understand for people outside the Beltway. And that's everything you need to know. The White House is not running on tradition, it's running on the clock. Right now, they're really running on the clock because if they lose the midterms, the second half of this administration is going to be nothing but subpoenas, impeachment, and Congress doing everything they can to put the biggest roadblock up against the President of the United States. That is not me speculating. That's them coming out and saying it. We take it back. We're going to impeach you. So here's the truth. Loyalty isn't protection anymore. Donald Trump, one of the things he demands, he respects, he requires is you have to be loyal to him. Some people say that's a good thing. Some people say that's a bad thing because they want blind loyalty to him. But you got to be loyal to him because there's so many people that have tried to derail everything he's done. But loyalty isn't enough to protect you when you're not doing your job. Kristi Noem, out. Pam Bondi, out. That's not betrayal, that's replacement because he has a sense of urgency to get things done while he can because he knows there's a light flashing at the end of the tunnel that says one day you'll leave this office, and he's trying to make as many things happen as possible so he leaves the country in a better place than he found it. Washington says, wait, manage people, protect people. We got to be careful with these things. Reality is, in this White House, producer, you're gone. That's more of the private sector than the public sector. In the first term, he let people with the learning curve get through there. And what he found out was those people with the learning curve didn't have the best interest in the United States. They were having more self-preservation than anything else. He had a bunch of leakers. He had a bunch of people that like, yeah, okay, I know the president said this, but I'm going to go do that. That's the way of Washington. Second time around, he says, I've got no patience for this. Either you help us accomplish what we need to accomplish, or I'll find someone else to do the job. Either you lead the men up that hill, or I'll replace you and find somebody else to do it. And that's the shift from trying to govern, which most people do, or trying to win, what this White House is trying to do. Because if winning's the priority, then everyone in that building is on borrowed time unless they're delivering, period. Let me say that one more time. In this White House, if you're not in it to win it, winning is not your priority, performing is not your priority, and you can't do the job, then we'll find somebody else that can. Because in the White House right now, everyone's on borrowed time unless you're living up to what the president's expectations are, you're performing and delivering for the American people, period, end of story. I don't care how much I love you. I don't care how loyal I am to you and how loyal you are to me. The bottom line is, it's not about Donald Trump. It's about the American people. That's why he's making these kind of radical, unheard of, unprecedented changes within his administration before the midterms. Now, for the rest of the world, it shows chaos. For the pundits, it gives them reasons to throw another punch at him. Look, he doesn't know what he's doing. He just had to replace his attorney general. But in the private sector, you know this. If you have somebody out there on the front line and they're not getting the job done, it drags everybody else down. When you played sports, you knew if there was one person that wasn't able to get the job done, it was going to drag the rest of the team down. And Donald Trump knows that, and that's what he's saying right now to the people of the administration. Not only do I expect loyalty from you, but you better do your job for the American people, because as much as I love you, I respect you, thank you for being on my team, this is about Team USA. And we've got to perform for those American people. This is about meritocracy, and this is about getting the job done. And as much as he liked Pam Bondi, and as much as he's like Kristi Noem, and he really had a special relationship with Pam Bondi. Remember, she was one of his lawyers when they tried to impeach him the first time around, and she's been a big surrogate. She campaigned, she worked her tail off for him, and he put her in a position as Attorney General. And there's some things that she did well, but there's some things that she didn't. Kristi Noem, things she did well, and then she got off the rails. And instead of trying to cover up or try to help her out or try to slow down what they're doing to get her back up on the horse, he said, I'm sorry, the race is over here and we have a sense of urgency. Just like Bruce Bochy said, I might love this player. I might try to help him get through his lack of confidence or the struggle he has right now during the regular season. But this is the World Series. I owe it to my team to win today. Sorry, but winning matters more than your feelings right now because there's a sense of urgency. Because this is the big leagues and this is the biggest game you'll ever play. I can't sit there and help you get through your issues because it's not fair to the other 24 men on this roster. For the cabinet secretaries that aren't getting their job done, I can't help you work through your feelings, get back on track because I owe it to the American people, each and every one of them, to have my cabinet secretaries and the people in this administration working as hard as they can, but succeeding in getting the job done. And if you're not, then I got to find somebody else because I owe it to the people that put me into office. You want to comment? Please, 833-804-1140. They say it's lonely at the top because you do have to be ruthless at times and do what's best for the team, even though it's going to hurt somebody that you work with. It's one of those things of leadership that's not easy. That's why not everybody can be a leader. Give me your thoughts, 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. All right, coming up on the program, your chance to win $100,000 as we celebrate 100 years of News Radio WRVA. It's all brought to you by our friends at RoofMax.